Hey everyone, Christian here, and I'm going to do a palm review. It's going to be a little bit of a tad bit of a roast, but not a really much of one. So this palm here, as you can see, is a fan palm with flowers hanging out beyond the beyond the fronds, which meaning it is a interfoliar flowering, and as opposed to intrafoliar, meaning within the foliage. So this is labeled as Pritchardia pacifica, and Pritchardia pacifica has an intrafoliar flower bract, meaning it should be on the inside. So with this being on the outside here, sorry, right there, this is pretty. That's a pretty good, marker that it is actually not pacifica, but it's actually most likely Pritchardia thurstonii, which is native to the general area, which it says, the Tonga Islands, but introduced by Polynesians to Fiji. Basically southwestern Oceania, all those islands there, the Cook Islands, Tonga Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, and these have naturalized in areas like Hawaii, other parts of Polynesia. So with this being a non-Hawaiian Pritchardia, and there's very few species of non-Hawaiian Pritchardias, there's only about 4 or 5. These are relatively cold sensitive, and this one has been taking quite a beating. So you can see here, if you look closely, right there, you can actually, there's a complete hole right through the middle of the trunk. So this thing's seeing quite some fungal or insect issues, more likely insects boring in there, maybe woodpeckers even. And there's quite a bit of lichen and moss, or lichen I should say, and moss, and mini ferns growing, mini wart ferns kind of growing on there. And but it is a more mature plant, and it seems like this is flowering just fine. So I don't know if it just is, it's a war-beaten palm or what's going on, but usually Pacifica is going to have a flatter, less folds in the leaflets, less cost to palmate, and Thurstonii is going to have a narrower leaflet, meaning not as wide like this versus all the way out, with more folds in the leaflets like shown here. So like I said, this is most likely Thurstonii. I don't know which other species it would be, but sometimes palms often get mislabeled. Sorry about the background noise as the emergency services do their job. And so just give me 1 second here as it comes through. But if we get to the sunny side of the palm here, already might be a fire. This actually is a great view now that I'm looking at, but you can see the crown is relatively small for Thurstonii. Another sign, you can see the holes in the trunk are very obvious right there. And there is some white tomentum, which is pretty typical of most Pritchardias, actually, not just Hawaiian or non-Hawaiian ones. And they keep most of their fronds upright. Pacifica usually holds a few more fronds at or below the horizontal. So this is a pretty cold sensitive plant. I mean, I'd say it's a solid zone 10. I've seen it growing around here, usually just fine, but as you can see, it is Pritchardias have an issue with lethal yellowing as well. So now we got the trains coming, but it still is it's a great palm. It grows relatively fast. The seeds are easy to germinate and do grow fast as well. So if you're looking for a fast growing palm, especially a fan palm that has some color, some fuzz to it, this is not a bad way to go. Thurstonii has relatively small seeds. They're going to be at the size of a pea, if not actually less than that, and they germinate really fast. Give them some you don't have to give them the best draining soil. They actually do pretty well in some wetter or I should say potting soil that holds moisture for a longer period of time, and they don't need well draining soil to grow well. So, but again, these grow most of the Pacific Islands. They can take a lot of wind, take a decent amount of salt. They just don't like a lot of cold. And if you have a frost event, this will definitely turn yellowish brown. Probably won't die outright, but it's definitely a solid zone 10 palm. Probably about as cold hardy as a coconut. Thurstonii is. Pacifica is a little bit less cold hardy. So, but like I said, it is rewarding because it is relatively fast. It is relatively easy to grow, and it's relatively uncommon in cultivation in many parts of the world. So, it kind of has its highs and lows. This is a pretty rough looking specimen. There's probably some really nice ones in the tropics, but this is one of the larger ones I've seen around here. So anyway, that's about it for Thurstonii. If you guys have any questions about Pritchardias, especially thurstonii, leave them down below. If you're new to the vlog, go ahead and subscribe and you'll see many more palm reviews like this. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And I will see everyone next time.